Welcome back to my channel. In this video, we will demonstrate how you can implement 3D effects with HTML and CSS only. To demonstrate this, we would be taking an example of a cube where we would be implementing the 6 sides of a cube using CSS and HTML. And we would also be implementing a little bit of JavaScript just to show various properties that we would be using in this CSS and how those properties actually come into effect to build the entire 3D effect. In this example, if you click on this open button, it will disperse the cube, so to show the cubic projection. And once you click back on close, it will bring the cube back to its original shape. I would be taking you through in this video step by step through the code. And I believe after the end of this video, you should be able to understand how various CSS properties like transform, translate, rotate, perspective works. So let's get started. In VS Code Editor for this video, you can use any code editor of your own choice. So I've created a folder named 3D Cubic Projection with 3 files under it, an HTML file, a CSS file and a JS file. To start with, we will create the HTML document and import the CSS and JS file within it. I'll be creating a box wrapper which will wrap the entire cube inside it. Let's name the class as box wrap. Within it, I'll be creating a div for my box. This is the box wrap, and box will be used for providing the 3D view. And within the box, I would be creating a div for each sides of a cube. So there are 6 sides. I'll be naming or assigning a class called side to each one of them, and I'll be creating it 6 times. For each of the sides, I would be assigning a unique class, which would be used for providing certain properties for each of the sides, which will help me in defining the or providing the 3D aspects. Let's name the sides as right, left, front, back, and top and bottom. Adding a button which will invoke a JavaScript function which will be used for showing the cubic projection by opening the boxes or closing or bringing the cube back to its original size. Let's assign a class called open, and let's put a label as open to this button. Let's start putting some styles to CSS. I'll quickly put the CSS stylings and explain it. Okay, let's see what we have done so far. I've defined a root element, root property, where I would be defining certain variable. I've defined the box coordinates. We'll see how this will be used later. So I've just, for the moment, I've defined it as 1.5 m and a negative coordinates for minus 1.5 m. I've also defined some defaults for the entire document, padding as 0, margin as 0, and box sizing as border box. I've defined some background color for the body, which is a linear gradient of blue shades, and a width of 100% and a height of 100 viewport height. I've set the font size as 50px. This will act as the base size for all the relative size used further in the document. The box wrap, which is the outer div, is set to a position as relative because all other boxes or the sides of the boxes will be set as absolute position relative to the box wrap. I've also defined some styling for the button, which is not very much relevant for this video. Just for a good look, I have assigned certain border radius, certain border size, width and height, and a font color and a background color for the button. The position has been assigned as fixed with bottom 50px and left 45% so that I have a definite position for the button. Let's go ahead and give some stylings for the boxes and the sides. Let's have a look into the browser, how it looks like. So this is the background shade of blue and a button. Now let's start styling the actual cube. For that, first we would be styling the box class. I'll be setting a width of 3em. Now 3em here means 3 into 50 pixel, which is your 150 pixel. I'll be setting a height as well as 3em, which will give me a square look. And I will set the position of this box to absolute so that this is absolute to the box wrap. I will set top to minus 1.5em so that it is shifted towards top of the box wrap container, and a left of minus 1.5em so that it is in middle. Let's have a look into the browser. Obviously you can't see anything because we have not set anything for the boxes or the sides. So let's style the sides so that we can view something. As for that, I would be picking up the side class, which has been assigned to each of the sides. Let's assign a background color of, I'll be picking a random color. Let's say 100%, 50%, and a opacity of 0.8. Let's assign some width and height so that the sides are fully occupying the boxes, and they should bring something on the browser. Not yet, because we have not assigned the position as absolute. We can't see yet anything. This is the mistake here. Here is the boxes. Now we can see the boxes are not properly centered. That's because we have not yet assigned the display properties for my body content. Let's assign it a flex display and justify the content to center and align the items to center. The justify content will give me a column alignment and align items will give me a row alignment. Here we have got the box. Now you've seen that we have provided a opacity of 0.8, but we still see quite opaque figure here. That's because all the 6 sides are on top of each other, that you can view by inspecting the element. And if I go to the desktop property, open the body element here, go to the div element, open the box, you can see all the div elements are on top of each other. Let's now separate out each of the sides from overlapping each other and bring them on their respective positions: right, left, front, back, top and bottom. By aiming one of the side, let's say we will pick right for the first attempt, and then we will go on applying the respective positions for each of these div elements, or basically the sides. Let's go. Now I will go back to the code editor and define some properties for my right class. I'll assign a background color different from what we had selected earlier so that you can visualize the difference. And I will apply some transform property to start with. Translate X. This will shift the box or the content to the right side of the x-axis if I'm providing a positive value within the translate X parameter. So here I would be picking up these coordinates. So 1.5m means 1.5 into 50 pixel, which is your 75 pixel, we should see the box being shifted 75 pixel to the right side from the center of the. We will also provide a rotation of 90 degree on the y-axis so that the right side basically shifts on the x-axis and rotate towards y-axis to give a right side look. Let's apply that and go back to our browser. Okay, we can see it very thin. That's because we have not yet set any perspective. The perspective basically tells you how closer you are looking at content. So let's go back to the body. Oh, we have already set the perspective to 50mm. Maybe let's try to set the perspective origin to top and right. So you can see the right side properly now. Let's try to apply similar thing for the left side, but this time the box coordinates, we will be choosing a negative coordinate which is of the same value but on the other side. So you can see both the sides appearing now. Now let's target the front and back side of the cube. I will quickly copy this and place it for top and bottom. Let's apply different colors to each of the sides so you can basically look at this properly. I will quickly select some color, random colors, and for bottom I would be choosing maybe a shade of pink. Now since we want to see the top side, so basically what we need to do is we need to pick one of the side and push it, translate it on y-axis, and then rotate it 90 degree on the x-axis. Let's apply those changes and have a look into it. You can see the sides are appearing properly. I can still see something incorrect here. Yep, this is. So 4 sides of the cubes are properly placed. Now it's time to place the front and the back sides of the cube. So let's quickly copy this and apply the changes for front and back side of the cube. Let's name this as front and this one as back. Let's change the color, maybe a shade of yellow, maybe a shade of green. And this time we just need to push one of the box to farther in z-axis, which is this one, and we have to just pull one of the box closer towards us in the z-axis. So we do not need any rotation. We would just be applying the translation on the z-axis, which will be translate z and translate z on negative. We can see our cube is properly visible now. Now let's provide some animation to the cube so that you can automatically see all the sides of the cube. Maybe change the color of this right side because it's not properly visible because of the background color. Maybe provide a darker opacity, and you can see it's taking a bit darker color. Let's try to define animation for the cube and name it as maybe animate. For 100% we would just be transforming and rotate it by 360 degree. Maybe rotate it on x-axis. Let's apply the animation to the box class. Before going to that, I just forgot to mention that it should be rotate 3D and not rotate because we have used all the coordinates here. So let's apply the animation to the box class, which is the div element containing all the sides. Once we are done with this, we should see the animation taking its effect. Let's apply animate class with a 10-second animation duration and a linear pattern with infinite interval. So let's go back to the browser. It's not working yet. That's because we have not mentioned it properly. Let's apply it. We can see that the 3D effect is not preserved. That's because we forgot to mention that the transform style should also be preserving the 3D. Now, once we apply this, you will also see the right side, which was not appearing properly at that moment, would be appearing properly now. Let's go back to the browser. Here we can see a beautiful animation of the cube. You can also say the various axes on which you want to rotate the cube. You can change the axis. You can say maybe rotate it on all the axes. It will just keep on rotating on all the axes for 360 degree. We can change the color because black is a bit opaque and we are not able to see all the sides of the cube. Let's have a look now. It's time to build the JavaScript action associated with the open button, which will disperse the cube and maybe bring the sides farther. That we will go to the cube.js file and apply our code here. Let me quickly write the code and explain it to you. Let's have a look at our code. So here in this line, I'm searching for the button. Here I'm searching for the root property. I'm assigning a event to the button that on click, it will see if the text for the button is set as open. It will set the property as 3.5m. So basically it will set the coordinates at 3.5 into 50 pixel, which will be around 175 pixel, and minus 175 pixel, which will basically automatically get applied to the translation x and y axis and even for the z axis. So as soon as user clicks on open button, this variables changes, and which in turn changes the position of each of the sides. So we are just applying a bigger values for whenever we want to open the box, and when we want to close the box, we are going back to the original value. Let's have a look into the browser. When you click on the open button, it just opens the box. If you click on close, it brings it to its original shape. I hope it was quite easy and you will be able to understand how 3D works in CSS. Thank you for watching my video.